Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Steamboat Comedy Podcast, everybody. My name is Kyle Ruff with you again. Going around, we have the Styles Sanchez, a.k.a. Miles Sanchez.
Hey, what's up, man?
There he is. And joining us, our special guest, our headliner for the Desperation Day shows, if you saw him, the motherfucking fire from New York City, Robbie the Fire Bernstein. Robbie!
Hey,
Saw,
man.
dude.
There you go. I like the intro. Thanks for having me.
Hell
This
yeah.
has been a fun fucking weekend.
Fuck yeah, dude. I'm so glad you made it out.
It wasn't even a weekend. We just partied like it was the weekend.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Welcome to the boat and say goodbye to the boat.
Yeah.
That's
We're
where
all
you're at.
alcoholics. Every day of the week is the weekend.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's such a
Kind of
problem.
is.
My
There's
dog hates me so much right now. This week alone, he's like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
Why, is your dog just stuck inside needing to use the bathroom right now?
no, he used the bathroom this morning. Like,
That's not good
Yeah, one a
enough.
day is good, right?
you don't know my dog. First off, he's a lazy piece of shit.
Actually,
so-
I do know your dog. He's fucking great. I love him.
Yeah.
Shout out
and-
to Russ.
Shout out to Russ. That's my boy Wonder right there. No, I mean, like, he's gone out today. Like, and like he's a lazy piece of crap. So like I know he's not like super upset about getting to like spend all day in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's a weird situation. I know he's fine. He trusts me. He's not in any danger. He's gonna get a huge chicken breast when I get home.
I hope
so.
he shouldn't piss in your house.
No, dude, because he's my boy, and he doesn't do that. Like, he's so loyal.
He's a real gentleman.
Yeah,
Russ is.
he's not
Because
gonna
he
do
knows you're bringing back the chicken titties, so...
He does. He
Yeah,
knows,
buddy.
He's like, dude, I know he's like, he's been gone, but he's going to bring back the treasure. Like, he's.
I talk a big sandwich game. I mean,
You
listen,
sure do.
You listen to me on podcasts. I'm talking. By the way, I just wanted to let you know, some fans came out, and I was pulling sandwiches out of my pocket, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's legit." And then I had these turkey sandwiches with hummus and like hot sauce and pretzels, and I was telling them, "You got to shove some pretzels into that sandwich."
Ooh, that's a good move.
But the other night, I had I went to that grocery market that you showed me,
Right.
and I stocked up on beverages, and I saw a rotisserie chicken there, and I was like, fuck it, I'm grabbing this rotisserie
Dude,
chicken.
fuck
make
yeah.
chicken salad out of that.
No, I just tore it apart like a fucking animal in the motel room, and it was delicious. I've overlooked rotisserie chicken.
What
Dude,
what,
rotisserie
what
chicken are
grocery
fucking
store
sick.
did you send him to?
He just went to City Market.
Oh, I thought like he was like I don't know. I thought like he went to like somewhere else. I don't know.
No, $8
But there's only like
and-
2 options in this whole town.
I
It's
know.
that
That's why I was like,
National
where did you send him for rotisserie chicken? That's so great. Shitty Market? Like,
Yep.
no, the grocery store. Like, yeah.
It's those 2 things in Walmart, kind of.
You got to
There's
be
the
alone
difference.
to really just feast into a rotisserie chicken.
Oh, yeah.
But you just grab it limb by limb and you shove it right in your mouth.
No,
Oh, delicious.
no silverware required.
Nothing
None.
required.
Fuck that.
No.
I feel
noise.
like if you eat rotisserie chicken,
You better
with
eat
silverware, then like there's something wrong.
Yeah,
with
you're a
you.
serial killer.
I
you need a motel room towel to wipe off, and that's it.
You better eat rotisserie chicken like you're eating ass. Like, straight up. Just in
Yeah,
there.
just like a
no,
savage.
Like, reach in to the middle and separate the 2 cheeks
And
and,
then
just start
fucking-
eating it from
oh.
the bottom. No.
And then you get the sweet, delicious thighs right at the end.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
I
just
like-
go out, nom, 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 nom.
I don't like to do it that way. I like to, and by the way, I'm very new to rotisserie chicken, so I might be over-speaking my expertise, but I like eating that chicken limb by limb, really showing it what's boss. Like, you,
Oh, yeah.
you tear off the wing, and you eat that first, then you tear off a whole chicken bone, and you
Yeah.
eat that, then you eat the thigh, and then
Yeah.
you work your way into the innards. It's more like eating pussy than it is like eating
Yeah.
ass.
No, yeah, you
Eating
got
your tongue right in there. Eating pussy, you kind of, got to work into it a little bit.
Hey,
Yeah.
man, there's more than one way to skin a cat, man. I feel like there ain't no wrong way to do this, for real, as long as you're not using silverware like a fucking...
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
a fucking
Don't use silverware when you eat pussy or ass.
or
Yeah,
rotisserie
don't.
chicken.
Or rotisserie chicken.
Can you imagine that? You're about to eat pussy and you put on a bib and you take out the fork and knife like you're about to eat
Like Wile E.
lobster.
Coyote.
Yeah. You start pulling out condiments and she's like,
I like a
Don't
little
catch up on her
sriracha on
asshole.
mine.
if they didn't already make the
I
movie,
put that shit on everything. Sriracha.
if they didn't already make the movie The 40-Year-Old Virgin, that would have made the best sketch for like the
Oh.
virgin who's like about to be around vagina for the first time.
Oh yeah, for sure. He seemed like, all right, here we go. And he puts on his little bib, has like the little red
Mr.
lobster.
Bean, that would be the
Yeah, that'd
perfect
be-
guy to do it. Mr. Bean eats pussy for the
Oh.
first time, and he's putting on the bib, taking out
There's
the
an
fork. and
X-rated
knife.
already
Mr. Bean.
I've already seen Mr. Bean eat M&Ms. I don't need to actually see him eat pussy. Like
Oh
it's
boy.
oh, dude. So I want to touch back on something. You said that
Okay.
you fuck with sandwiches a lot. Like,
Oh, he's
I'm
the
the
sandwich king.
I'm the
this guy.
sandwich king of
you know,
America.
I'm the burger prince, and I'm
Okay.
sitting here with the sandwich king. I just
Burger Prince, sandwich king.
Oh,
You guys
man.
have a lot to talk about.
We
But
do.
your burger is technically a sandwich. Agreed. You know it's. How is it not?
So it is very hard to argue that a burger is not a sandwich because at the end of the day, it's a piece of meat being sandwiched by two pieces of bread.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by any classical definition, you would look at a hamburger and say, hey, this is a sandwich.
Right.
I've become a sandwich purist where,
Ooh.
like, the fact that a hamburger has a separate word for it, it's no longer a sandwich. If you were to put a hamburger between two pieces of rye bread, you're now
It's a
kind of
patty
having
melt.
a hamburger.
Actually, a patty melt would be a closer thing to a sandwich, in my opinion, because it's but not between two buns.
I feel like you're separate kingdoms. The Burger Prince and the Sandwich King. If you were like your
But the
kingdoms
but-
were at war, you had to like meet and negotiate.
Here's
You
the-
would meet in Patty Meltville because it's
Yeah,
completely
we start
both
working
things.
out our differences.
Here's the thing. I'm the burger prince, but before I was the burger prince, I was a sandwich samurai. You know, working at Panini Pete's. You know this.
Oh,
You
I know.
You know this. Like
I sure do.
My first chef ever was like a sandwich artist himself, and then he had to branch off into other fusion restaurants. But I know him as Panini Pete. He now has like 5 restaurants back home in Alabama. Shout out to him. He has a podcast or something.
Really? They
it's
talk
called-
about paninis the whole time?
Food. He knows Guy Fieri or something. I don't know. Shout out to like Panini
So they talk
Pete.
about hair gel.
Yeah, totally. I think that's exclusively what they talk about,
I-
and where they get their flaming chef pants at. I also have a pair of flaming chef pants.
Right. I feel like it's mandatory at this point.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, it is. Anyways,
So, Robbie,
Yes, sir.
my man. So let's talk about we just completed day 2 of the Desperation Day special. Robbie was our headliner for both nights, Thursday and Friday. It's Friday night. We're recording this right after the show. And it was fucking awesome. Robbie, how was your experience doing stand-up comedy in Steamboat Springs, bud?
I had a great time. I think you guys are building a cool scene up here. I was really impressed by all the local talent. You guys all had good jokes. You had good energy on stage, and I had a ton of fun. This was a great experience.
Thank you, man. Awesome. We're so glad that you made it out. And that's a big goal. What we're trying to accomplish here is spreading the word that we're building this little scene. And if people want to come out from places like New York or places like Denver, shout out to our buddies Corey and Mark, and Chicago, shout out to our buddy Pat. We're trying to make this like a destination thing, and it's like it's a great place to come, and we have an extremely receptive audience here. So shout out to everyone who came out tonight. Thank you guys so very much. So yeah, that's great. This is your first time in Colorado, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm like a long time skier. I've always even though I only get 2 or 3 days in a
Yeah.
year. I think like I live ski lifestyle. We ski together. You can see it. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
it. I live it.
No, you're no schmuck. You can ski,
Yeah.
bud.
And I've always wanted to for years. I'm like, there's nothing to do with ski mountains, and I also know that these are my people. And I think you know what I mean by that. Like all skiers are cool. There's
Yes.
something to all skiers that we have a similar vibe.
There's a ski mountain vibe, like the type of people who like ski a lot.
Yeah.
Like no one's an asshole. Well, let me rephrase that, because there's like rich Aspen assholes who ski a lot, but like just generally the ski bum kind of culture, like
Yeah.
the ski town kind of culture is so relaxed. People are so nice.
It's this odd hybrid of being both an alcoholic but an adventurous and also kind of active.
Yeah, an active alcoholic.
Yeah, you start combining a bunch of different elements, and you're like, okay, we all kind of have the same personality here.
It's not like an alcoholic that you find
it's
in somewhere like New York because they might just be an alcoholic and they sit in their apartment.
and
Like
this
you
place,
have to go
It's
earn
like
it.
Yeah.
it's like a work hard, play hard. Because
Yes.
if you wanna live here in Steamboat, you have to work here in Steamboat. It's not like, so if you want to live this ski lifestyle, it's like I'm gonna work 8 hours today, ski for like 4 hours tomorrow, and then do my hobby, my other thing, and then go back to work, probably hungover. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's like an element of just appreciation for adventure and also something in the mind where you just want to push it. Like
Yeah.
you always want to ski something harder. You want to be in the most difficult terrain. There's something about like that psyche of, hey, I want to be outdoors and I want to push it. And I got to tell you, because to promote the shows, I was just throwing out there like, hey, I'll ski with you. And I started getting a little nervous, like, oh man, I might get like this is my vacation. I want to ski, and I was like, I might get stuck with some fuckers and like that are. But then I realized I've never met a skier I don't like. And I got lucky.
Yeah.
The people that came out, firstly, I had a great time skiing with you guys, but I wish you had met the fans that came out and skied with me. They were the coolest people.
Well, they came to the show last
last
shows,
night. Yeah.
I wish I would have met them.
Yeah, they were all cool.
Last night, I mean, both shows were great, but last night they had everything ready to go and like had our merch table ready. And then tonight we went and got a drink at the last minute, and then I came back and I was like, oh shit, nothing's set up. And like the stage isn't even set up, and I was running around like a fucking maniac. So I didn't get a chance to talk to anybody really. But that's cool. It's awesome that you had some fucking fans come meet up.
I was shocked. I wasn't shocked that people came out like with the hybrid of, hey, I'm going to like, oh, cool. I listened to this guy, I get to ski with him, and then I'm going to go to the show. I was shocked tonight that 4 people came out to me like, hey, I listened to Part of the Problem. We came up here for the show.
Fuck yeah.
That was shocking to me. But
Shout out
awesome.
to all
Dude,
the
that's
problem
what's up.
children.
Yeah.
Problem children.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it, man. I'm not super well read. I'm unbelievably well podcasted. Like,
Okay.
all I do is listen to podcasts. I don't think I've missed an episode of Part of the Problem other than today, which I'll let's do it later. I don't think I've missed one in like 2.5 years.
I got to catch up myself, man. The Wednesday and Friday, man, I haven't listened to them yet. I got to go. I got to catch up, and that way I'm in the loop.
You just booked that Monica Perez chick. I listened to that one.
Was good?
Yeah, she's a
Great.
really interesting person.
Yeah.
I was really surprised. I was like, wow, this person is like...
And she gave the rundown. She really is in the know on the Ukraine stuff,
Oh,
right?
big time.
Yeah.
She's in the know on a lot of things. It was really good. She has her own show, and I'm like, oh, I should probably look into that. I'll check it out. Yeah.
That's one of the greatest parts about podcasts. It happens to be I don't listen to as many as I used to, which is partially because I have a Samsung, and when I had the iPhone, they downloaded more automatically, and they were a little easier to find. Here was the two things. I prefer the Samsung because, I don't know, the Samsung's like a little bit looser.
Yeah.
What was nice about the iPhone is, firstly, podcast is downloaded automatically. Also, much better for texting while driving. I mean, the iPhone should literally advertise itself as, hey, listen, we're a little more expensive, but you can text and drive with this thing. Because you can hold it in one hand, and the thumb is way more responsive. On my Samsung, I really can't text while driving. When I was on my iPhone...
Why don't you use the voice feature?
Because he's not a dick.
Yeah.
I hate that shit, dude.
Well, I mean, if you're
Like,
driving,
dude, no. Like, I get that, but like, once you start doing it while driving, those motherfuckers do it everywhere. Dude, I have friends like that will text me like that, and I can exclusively tell like he's not even using the keyboard. He's like, ha ha. Anyways,
It'd be like, haha, and then the word comma, and then
yeah, like I'm like, fucking faggot. Like, just type. Just fucking type. You fucking douche canoe. Like, you're not your dad yet. Like,
I literally voice text
you
somebody today.
fucking.
It's so nice sometimes.
Don't.
I'll be
scrub my
like
cunt.
skiing, and I'll be like, okay, Google, text Robbie Bernstein that we can't pay him. So, like,
Literally, your phone is doing that right now because you're just letting the man into your life one
It's
step at a
always
time.
listening.
Oh, and the text came through. This is bullshit. But that's one of the incredible things about. I used to have a job where I used to restock vending machines, and the whole day I was listening to podcasts. And what's great about that is you can be working the world's shittiest job, restocking vending machines, and learning so much. I learned more from listening to some random podcasts than I probably picked up in all of college.
Fuck yeah.
And you can pick the topics that you're interested in and just learn so much information passively while working your shitty job, where you turn around 3 years later and you just have a better world outlook. Like, you're all of a sudden you're just knowledgeable. You have better habits because you've been hearing about exercise or eating healthy from a guy like Rogan, and then you're learning about libertarian politics from a guy like Dave Smith, and like,
Or Robbie Bernstein.
yeah, you just, well, I'm not nearly as knowledgeable, and I don't put out information the same way, but thank you. But the point is, you can really turn around and be like, holy fuck, I picked up a lot of information passively over the last 2 years.
Oh, fuck yeah. Audiobooks and podcasts are my thing. I read a little bit. I have some books. I don't read them very often, but I'm almost always, I mean, like, any time that I'm alone, it's almost like an insecurity thing. If I'm in a, like, room by myself, there's an audiobook going, or there's a podcast going.
I gotta get more disciplined about that. I used to be really good, exactly what you're describing. If I was at my job doing bullshit work, I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to econ talk or I'm going to listen to this debate.
Right.
And that's good because I'm telling you, you just turn around over a course of time. It's like the same as showing up to the gym every day.
Yeah.
And you just like, if you have that discipline, you turn around and you're like, oh, I actually look okay. It's the same thing with your mind. If you just commit to either reading every day or listening to like actual insightful information, you turn around and you're like, oh, I actually learned a lot over the last 2 years.
I need to get better at listening to more podcasts. I'm in that lifestyle right now where like when I'm on my way to work, that's when I listen to my music, but that's also when I mise en place my life. Like, do you know what mise en place is?
No, lay it on me.
It's French. It's a culinary term. It basically means everything in its place. It's when you get your shit together. So like when I'm on my way to work, I'm literally like, I put my headphones in and I'm like, all right, like you had your coffee, like random thought, but okay, I need to start thinking about work. I'm on my way to work, like who's there? I start thinking about who's there, like what wasn't done last night. Like I start like getting my day together, like trying to figure out what I have to do when I get to work. And I need just like bullshit music in the background to keep me focused. I feel like a podcast would just have me like, I might learn new things, but that's like, it's a part of my day that I need. You know what I mean?
Then do that. Don't
yeah,
think twice about it.
Yeah.
So, but like, and then like, I'd love to listen to podcasts while I'm working, like by myself, but it's like I have tens of other people around me, and like 9 times out of 10, it's like, no, we need like to get to work. It's like Vikings rowing a boat. They can't row a boat, just listen to Joe Rogan. They need to listen to like hip hop or fucking Metallica or something, you know? Like they're not gonna row the boat to that. So it's like, oh well, I guess I'm just gonna be ignorant for a while.
Well, here's the other. I mean this for real. Information is overrated, and what I mean by that is like I've kind of, because I grew up in college, I grew up in New York. Some of why I read and I'm well informed, it's an ego thing, and there's no reason for it. That's what I like about what you guys like. You guys are free spirited. It's kind of like about tapping into, hey, what's really cool to me, and then figuring out a way to monetize it.
Right.
So if you're working in the kitchen and you're really good at managing people and you're really good at fucking cooking shit, why do you ever need to understand? Like, who cares about being informed? I'm not even making a joke here.
No,
it's
that's
overrated.
where I'm feeling too. Yeah. Sometimes, like, I would love to listen to podcasts, but like sometimes my life just doesn't allow it. I get to be on a podcast. That's cool, but that's also why I don't get to listen to podcasts. It's like, oh, I have to think of comedy material for this week, you know. I don't know.
No, I mean,
I make excuses, but like I know, like sometimes it's just like I feel like I don't have time for it.
I've spent a lot of my life trying to like kind of read books and find out information, and now I'm starting to learn. I seem to get more stuff by just kind of like networking, and I'm like, well, maybe I did everything wrong. Maybe I just should have spent all my time out of the house and becoming like increasingly more likable and just figuring out how to make the interpersonal connections. And like, there's all like these little skills that aren't taught in school. And so we're all kind of wired to think, hey, if I haven't read a book, memorized in this information, figured out how to spit it back, then I'm not really working, or I'm not even well informed. But there's so many other skills that you can monetize. And as the internet comes and people are able to specialize more and more, and like, I'm just saying, it's like, we're almost, this almost like a trippy attitude of, who the fuck is to tell you what is a valuable skill? And we're still kind of sucked into this school thing where it's like absorbing information and spitting it back is a useful skill. But who the fuck knows? You might become the best restaurant manager, the best cook ever.
Let's not get too far ahead.
No, I'm just saying it could happen. You can master that to the point where you make a fucking killing doing that. And then what is me being a Harvard expert who learned economics or statistics? Why is that more valuable than your ability to serve people amazing food and get paid well for it?
I mean, it's literally not. I mean, at all.
It's almost the value of something is your ability to sell it and monetize it.
Right.
You know, like outside of that, I mean, that's literally putting a value on something.
And monetize sounds like one of these things like, like money is corrupt, but it literally, hey, it's the Kendra.
What's up?
Oh my God.
Come on in, lady. We lost our, I don't know where my fourth microphone is.
Oh, it's all good.
So we'll
I'm
figure
just saying hi.
Oh, hi.
Grab a
come
mic.
sit
You
down.
missed a
Oh,
show
yeah,
tonight.
join the
Tonight
live.
was
Pull
fucking
up a bed.
unbelievable.
Tonight was awesome.
Dang. Oh, I have cupcakes.
Cupcakes.
Oh, bring some
Dude, fuck
cupcakes.
yeah.
Fuck yeah, Darv.
Fuck yeah, diabetes. Right in the fetus.
So no. My point was we were talking about the college thing, and you're like your ability to monetize something. I was saying you're right, but people hear that. There's so many people today are like, oh, like monetize means it's corrupt and it's not.
Dude, we monetize everything. Do you realize?
I made 50 cupcakes today.
Holy shit.
Like,
Shit.
you speaking of that, I first realized like monetizing is just like that word's a joke to me, but like I see what you're saying because I was an EMT. That's literally monetizing life-saving things that like probably we should be just doing just to be good human beings. But do you realize that you're charged like $50 just to get oxygen?
Well, I
That's
mean,
monetizing oxygen.
you're going like 10 steps
Here's-
past.
Yeah,
where
but
I'm
what
at.
I'm saying is like you monetize anything. That's why you get it.
But,
Like,
but
I don't know.
monetizing something does not mean that it's bad. The reason why it costs $50 because of oxygen is because the government has fucked up everything so horrifically badly. My point is that monetizing things, if you're saying like, oh, like find something and monetize it, means that people actually enjoy it.
It's not even that. This is the best line from The Godfather. Discontent for wealth was something invented by the wealthy so the poor wouldn't want it. Take a second and
Fuck
just
yeah.
absorb that line. Discontent for wealth
Yes.
was something invented by the wealthy so the poor wouldn't want it. We have like these boxes in our brain where like, I'm just telling you, you can open up 2 restaurants and they're serving the exact same food. And one is charging double the price and people are just paying it and they're happy.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that guy just managed to extract more from the same amount of customers. And you can look at it and go like, well, fuck that guy. Or at the end of the day, dude, even currency itself. Think about currency. The
Yeah.
U.S. dollar. What gives the U.S. dollar value? Think about it. What makes it value?
Guns.
Okay. What do you think gives the U.S. dollar value?
Dude, at this point, I feel like it's more like labor for me. Like, but
Here's what gives the U.S. dollar value. People will accept it. People have
that,
confidence.
I'm literally that guy right there accepting it, just like,
What, you mean you're like, why can't I just have...
more of these. I need more of these. I need more of these so
More
bad.
of these green things.
But I don't want to work. It's like Kendra right here. All right. Like, how many hours did you work today?
Probably like 8.
8 hours? Yeah. Kendra made more in 8 hours than I did probably in my 9 hours. And I know I'm not saying you didn't work hard at all because I know you fucking killed it. You fucking killed it. My back hurts a lot. I don't know. It's the bartender cook thing. Kendra's going to make more money than me any given day of the week, no matter how hard each of us work.
Yeah, so apply for her job.
Okay. All right. I don't want to have this conversation for real. That's my own fault.
I love this conversation.
You can have
Well,
it.
I mean, oh boy. So this is Robbie and I both are skilled in economics. Like, and that's I'm not saying that to be an asshole. That's just like what I do. Like when I was talking about how much I listen to podcasts, all I do is listen to Part of the Problem. Shout out to Dave Smith and Robbie Bernstein, and also Contra Krugman and the audio book that I listen to all the time. It's Thomas Sowell's Basic Economics. It's fucking great. I feel like it's underrated in the economics
I don't know if I
community.
read that. Was that economics one lesson? Wasn't that his
No,
book?
economics in one lesson. I have not listened to that, but that's was it Henry Hazlitt.
Oh, okay.
The difference between those two is that economics in one lessons is like a really short book, but Thomas Sowell's Basic Economics is a way longer, and he actually like takes like he'll give a scenario. And then he'll take a real world example and explain it and be like, this is what's happening. This is that. Like rent control. He has a big thing on rent control, for example. And he's like, so this is how people think rent control works. This is how it actually works. And here's example A. And here's example B. And here's example C. And then he'll move on to the next topic. And it's really great. But the point of that is, I don't even remember what we were getting at the beginning. Fucking economics. Everyone thinks they know it. They don't.
I have zero idea what's going
I
on
literally have
anywhere.
no idea.
It's really fucking complicated, and what sucks, this is why I hate democracy, is that everyone gets to vote on it, even though I have no fucking idea what they're talking about. Like, oh, like, I don't make enough money, so I'll vote for so-and-so. And that's how economics works. And then they fuck it up, and it goes poorly, and then someone's like, oh, well, let me fix so-and-so's problem, and then they vote for that, and that just compounds and compounds, which really, if they would have just all got out of the way in the first place, we'd be fine.
And I'm taking the attitude that understanding economics or being the smartest person in the room is worth nothing compared to your ability to monetize any skill set.
Yeah.
If that skill set is shoving a flute up your asshole and playing the most beautiful
Just
flute asshole in
farting
the
out
world,
best song.
God bless you, you're better than the Harvard professor who makes $100,000 a year.
Yeah. Well, no. Excuse me. That was part of my thing is. So my girlfriend, shout out to Sweet Sarah Jane, she's the best.
SSJ.
The SSJ.
And clearly you guys are having a great relationship, that you spent Valentine's Day together and you bonded.
Well, she's in
and-
school, dude. She's getting a PhD
Oh, you're,
right
you're
now.
going for the younglings. Good for you, buddy.
Yeah, Anakin Skywalker did the same thing.
Killing younglings.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, she's killing it.
I
Shout
get
out
you got the
Switch Out,
mustache. She's also into the pedophile vibe.
Yeah,
It goes both ways,
every
yeah.
time I come in my giant white compact van with no windows, I just pick her up and I'm like, don't tell your friends.
He makes her put a Princess Peach dress on, and he dresses up as Mario.
Yeah, it's the third Mario brother.
Yep.
No, my point is that all these people in her program, and I've met a lot of them. I really like them a lot, but they're amazingly entrenched. Like, she's in the English program in like Michigan, and it's like a top 10 program in the country. It's fucking no bullshit. And these aren't dumb people. However, they are all thoroughly. They might as well call the English department the political department, because all they do is talk about politics. But not a single one of them know shit about economics. It just drives me insane. Like, for example, global warming. I don't know anything about global warming. I also don't have the time to look it up. So my opinion is I don't have an opinion, because I understand that I'm not qualified to have an opinion. I have so many other things to fucking deal with, right? All of these people know absolutely dick about economics, and all they will do all day is talk about it. All fucking day they'll talk about it, and they'll preach it all over the internet.
With the righteousness.
With an unbelievable righteousness. Like they were fucking sent from God. And it drives me nuts.
I'm going to tap in here, coming from the other side of the scale here. I studied global environmental issues.
Sure.
So anytime somebody tries to like argue with me about that, I'm like, oh, did you spend 4 years of your life studying exactly this? No. Okay, then I literally don't even need to
Then
have
shut
a
the fuck up.
conversation with you.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, that's very nice. And I used to want to get into discussions and debates with them about it, but it's not even worth my time, because people get so caught up in what they believe, you know what I mean? That it's not even like taking a rational point of view, or being like, oh, you know what? Or being humble about it and being like, hey, you know what? I haven't, but I'm interested in this topic.
Right.
Do you have any recommendations on
Right.
anything for me to read or listen to, so I can become more educated on this topic? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, yes, I have all these books, whatever.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
In the one out of 20 people who I used to get into debates with about this shit. And economics. If you wanted to start talking about economics with me, I'd be like, I literally have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But I'm also not going to argue with you.
Right. It's okay, but it's like, this is the problem with fucking like democracy in general, is that like, I understand that I don't know this, but I'm going to vote on it. And my vote is the same as yours, who's involved. And that's why I'm an anarchist.
I'm a green anarchist.
I have like a
Grenarchist?
very like slightly. I see what you're saying. Like, you get pissed off at people that vote because they don't know. My big pet peeve is people that don't vote, but then like literally have like the biggest like opinions about it. And I was like, well, did you vote? No, I live in a red state. I saw no point in doing it. No, like, and I'm like, okay, like you're part of the problem right here too.
But
like,
is it though? Because
I don't, dude. It is.
see, that's the thing, is like my part. Like, if they don't know what the fuck they're talking about,
that's the
then
problem.
why should they vote?
I feel like it depends on where you put your value, because you could be like, oh, like everyone should vote because we have the ability to. You know what I mean? That doesn't necessarily, you know what but
I'll throw out a just different perspective.
yeah.
I think that, in my opinion, you should force them to earn your vote. And what happens when you just automatically vote according to party lines, you're never getting representation, because they just assume, oh, I have this person. And if more people opted out, it would actually force them to offer you the goods that represent your values.
100%. 100%. And like, that's why I was like, it depends on what you value. And like, when you talk about voting rights, you know what I mean? It's like,
Sure.
do you just value the freedom to be able to vote, because we look at different cultures everywhere and they don't even have the choice to do that? Or do we look
Right.
at, hey, just because we have the freedom to, does that make it right? You know, when you're
Sure.
when you're taking into consideration like the philosophy
Well,
behind
I
mean,
the
also
whole
think
thing.
being a dumb asshole and knowing nothing and showing up to vote, what you're really going to vote for is, hey, what's going to best suit me? And I think that's kind of
Right. That's
in
the
a
Andy
way-
Uding fucking policy.
Well, in a way, it's representative democracy at its best, because government's actually forced to try and offer you the tangible goods that are going to get you to show up and vote for it. the flaw in the system more than anything is that government's allowed to run a deficit, and so they're able to steal from future generations in order
Correct.
to buy your vote.
Yeah.
So there are certain things that if just structurally we remove from the system, democracy could somewhat function. Now, I get that that's not the anarcho-libertarian perspective, and I get where they're coming from, and I don't even argue with that. But there is there's a way in which democracy can somewhat function, and people can vote in their self-interest,
Sure.
but it's not within the current, government framework that we have.
I mean, like, if you're gonna push me, I'm a pretty solid ANCAP. However, I'm not like without reason. Like, I don't think that government is entirely invalid. I think you can use it correctly. However, but I mean,
Yeah.
like, for most things, it's like when it comes to like, is democracy inherently good? No.
I mean,
It's like, should we all take a vote on like whether or not Kendra can smoke weed?
I think
No.
think
How
she's
about
gonna-
Kendra just decides whether or not she should fucking smoke weed? And I think you can take like 99.9% of all the shit.
She's like, "Where's my weed?" You're mentioning weed, and I'm like, "Where the fuck is it?"
Triggered.
You're talking about all this weed.
Hey, I have weed in my pocket.
I have weed in my pocket.
To touch on what Kendra said like earlier, like it kind of depends on where your values are, and that's I've voted because my mom gave me a very stern talking to one day because she was like, "Did you go vote today?" And I was like, "No," and she literally was like, "Stop what she was doing." She was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, literally, she was like, and at this time, like I had a lot of friends in the military, and like she knew these friends, and they'd actually gotten deployed and stuff. She's like, "Your friends are like literally like another country right now, like." Granted, like doing like the government's work or whatever.
Right. And did you vote whether they should leave or not?
What?
Like, what did you?
I mean, well, this was like,
I'm being
basi-
kind of an asshole, but
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, no, like
My point is that your voting has literally nothing to do with the military.
no,
at all.
like, hear me out, Kyle. You're literally like you're jumping here. Like,
Sorry,
so,
I
like,
apologize. I'm just like I
Just you-
fucking
well,
hate the military.
I
Like, so much.
understand, but like, okay, like I had friends in the military as literally like a job choice. Okay, they
Sure.
chose this decision.
Right.
But that being said, they're literally in another country fighting for this country for my right to vote. All right, and it's in
It's
essence.
not actually true.
All right, well, fuck you, dude. All right.
That's like not like.
All right. Well, it's a value that's instilled in me. Okay, so you guys can fuck off. All right. But that
Alright.
being said, I vote like literally because my mom told me to. But that being said, I live in a red state. I'm from Alabama. Like it's been told to me my entire life it doesn't matter in Alabama what you vote because it's gonna be Republican no matter what the fuck you say. But I go and vote, and I vote independent each time, no matter who the fuck it is. It's kind of a flawed system, but I'm just trying to get Alabama out of the fucking red zone, dude. Like I say like fucking Republican is stupid, Democrat is stupid. Like both parties are flawed as fuck. They're both in somebody's corporate ass pocket.
They're both the
Like
same.
I don't give a fuck, but I want someone neutral in there that's not in anyone's pocket. He might be a dumbass. He might be the biggest dumbass in the world. Hopefully he hires people that aren't dumbasses, and hopefully he's not owned by any giant corporations. That's the kind of the voting I do. All right. It's not perfect. It's not great. Maybe the values are flawed, but I'm an American. That's how the fuck I vote, dude. So,
All right.
all right, I don't know, but yeah.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Tangent. My bad.
No, that's all good. That's great. Right
You're
on.
flowing, man.
Fucking killing it.
Let it flow.
I just, the military is going to do whatever it fucking wants, no matter who you vote in. And the corporations own both parties. And
Talk about green anarchism. That's anarchism.
Grenard.
Enlighten me. I'm not familiar.
Rob and I are like into the anarchy community. And in my opinion, man, wow, we're getting fucking way into the politics. Is this something
Love
we want to
it.
save
I wish
for
I was
like
here for
or-
longer. I could
guess
talk
you
about this shit forever.
you could just
I
like
love
simulcast this, I guess, for run your mouth. I don't know how you want to do
it.
this.
Is this what
I'm
you,
on board. Just keep going. We're in it.
So
is this
the
what
point
you
is,
talk about on your podcast?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But I'm in the zone. Let's do this shit.
sometimes when it comes to what anarchism is, you're either an ANCAP, as we say in the community,
What's an ANCAP?
anarcho-capitalist, or you're not actually a
Anarcho-capitalist? Can you explain this to me?
So what capitalism is not government,
Yeah.
and anarchy is not government. So you're either an ANCAP or you're not actually an anarchist. So like I don't know what a green anarchist,
I guess
because that
it's-
Why don't we
implies
give you the
rules,
floor to
and
tell
that
us
means
what,
it's not anarchy.
What is a green anarchist?
Okay,
Lay it on me,
I
I'm
get
not
what you're
familiar.
saying
Do you know
about
what I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah. I guess the first time I was introduced to it was when I met a lot of my friends who are building like off-grid houses
Yeah.
in Taos, New Mexico.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like a total.
That's so cool. I fucking love
like
that.
that's my jam. That's what I want to do. I want to make my own shit. I don't want anyone telling me shit to do with my life. And I think essentially part of green anarchy, I have no like formal definition of this, is like if like I guess it is, you have to think about it like in geographical sense. However, like people who live like the green anarchy life, they're not like destroying nature in a sense. It's like taking like all the houses are built out of recycled materials. It's kind of like putting I guess anarchy, there is with green anarchy, there's like a rule with it. So
it's
it
like
makes
who,
it not
who
maybe
en-
pure anarchy.
Well, I mean, it's like who's enforcing that rule?
it's I don't know.
It would have to be a government,
Yeah.
and then it's not anarchy
No,
anymore.
would it have to be a government?
Well,
You know what I mean? Or can
but I
people
mean-
can people, like a group of people or a state of people,
right?
be, late
I mean,
live in this
if it's
code,
voluntary, if it's
Yeah.
voluntary, then it's capitalism.
Yeah. Oh. Wait. How? What?
Not government means voluntary.
Yeah.
Everything the government does is involuntary. It means you either do it like every law. Like when people were like, "Oh my God, like they're separating families at the border. Look at these cops." It's like, yeah, that's what all laws look like.
Yeah.
100% of laws are men with guns saying, "Do this, or we will use violence against you."
Yeah.
That's-
I guess the green anarchy thing, like when I was talking to people who are building this life out there, it's
Right.
like there's no consequence involved if you're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Adhering
but I mean,
to
but that's still it's the
X,
same
Y,
thing.
and Z.
It's libertarianism. It's still capitalism. It's capitalism has this dirty word where people are like, "Oh my God, it's all about profits," and that's the thing that drives me nuts. Like all these people at the university, they're like, "The war machine is all about capitalism," and it's like, are the wars voluntary? No, the war is funded by the government. It's socialized. It's socialism.
Yeah.
So it's literally the opposite of capitalism.
I guess I could see how they say that, because it is the corporations that are funding
Well,
the
see-
government in order to create this scenario because of what they get out of it.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I see where they're saying
I
that.
get why you would think that, but when it comes to like how it actually works, so a corporation, what's the difference between a business and a corporation?
I don't know. What is it, Kyle?
Laws.
Heard, yes.
who
that's
enforces
right. Yeah,
laws?
Yeah.
The government. Boom. There you go. So basically, a corporation by itself is the combination of government and business. And you know
Yeah.
what the actual definition of that is?
What?
It's a term that everyone uses incorrectly all the time. Fascism. Squabauch.
Yeah.
Fascism is a combination of corporate interest and government.
Yes.
So all corporations basically in America are fascism.
Yeah.
So
There's like emotional connotations to those words. You know what I mean? And like,
you're right. There's
you
a
know
lot
what
of
I mean?
emotion-
So
Yeah,
when we
for
were just
sure.
talking about it on the basis of like the definition of the word.
Right. And this is what drives me
Things can
fucking
get lost
nuts
in
about a lot of
translation.
things is people just use terms. So like you being like, "Oh, like hospitals are fascism. So does that mean fascism is okay or hospitals are bad?" The answer is no to either of those things. Things are more complicated.
To be
than
fair,
that.
I'm just a really stoned dude commenting on words. Like, don't take me too seriously at this point. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, it's not like it's to say that government intervention is bad does not mean that like literally every single thing that the government has ever done has been negative.
Yeah.
But from my perspective and from things that I've seen as evidence that when you leave things to the market, when you leave things to private actors, yes, exactly. It tends to go better, and I think there's a lot of empirical evidence to support that. On like basically everything. Like I want, for example, healthcare. I want it all to be privatized. And that's not because I'm an asshole. It's because I think the poor and the rich, especially the poor, will all have better quality service and will cost exponentially less.
Interesting.
I mean, like literally all things that have ever happened, government versus privatized, it's cheaper and more efficient if you privatize it. Like, for example, like toilets in the Pentagon cost $35,000 a piece. And it's not because they're amazing toilets.
It's just because the contractor's making a buck off the U.S. government.
Exactly.
That being said, what I'm curious about is you say privatizing's better.
Yes.
But how would that do so pharmaceutically? Like,
I mean, in
because
the
right
exact
now,
same way.
like
So every pharmaceutical company would actually have to perform for a market and be like, hey, we're going to give you a drug for $3,000. And people would be like, no, I can't afford that. And so they would have to drop it down. They'd have to find a medium. Like, so for example, Ragnar's, the restaurant I run, we sell Reubens. They're a little more expensive than your average Reuben, but we also have operating costs because we're on a mountain and we have to bring
I understand
things in.
that.
Right.
People don't
So-
understand that sometimes. But
Yeah, I know they don't. But my point is that I can't charge $3,000 for a Reuben, right? Because there's no Reuben insurance. There's no mandated Reuben insurance, and there's also no blank check from the government to pay for Reubens. So I have to find a medium between what is more than my cost and what people are willing to pay. And that's where the Reuben price lies, somewhere in that range. And it takes, so you have to like throw shit out there to figure out where it is. Once you find where it is, you fine tune it. And you can apply that to all things. But in the medical services, so an x-ray, well, it costs us $5 to do it. How about we charge $10,000?
Yeah.
And they just fucking do it. Like, when you go to the doctor, is there like a chart of prices on the wall for what you're paying for everything? Oh, fucking course there's not. Because it's all a scam through the insurance companies and through the government is like a collaborative.
So privatizing it would make it better because, well, okay, so privatizing any like medical service.
Yeah. Privatizing anything involves responsibility for what prices are. And things of that
Interesting.
nature.
Okay, so would that work the same for like a demographic that is poor versus
Yes.
like, so in that community there would be a privatized medical care that is set up to cost, you know what I mean,
Yeah, so
for
the answer
Absolutely.
to that is there's actually more profits in catering to poor people. So look at
Absolutely.
Walmart.
Yeah.
Walmart's one of the most profitable companies in America, right? Or
Okay.
even look at Amazon. I bet if you did like the rundown of Amazon's profits, it's not just coming from the 1%. It's coming from the bulk of
yeah.
people. So if you just left it to the free market, the idea that no one would want to cater to poor people is just obscene.
Yeah.
Look at all the
And
stories
They would
that
make
exist
and
it-
both
around
of those
Yeah.
companies in your example are companies that have brought prices unbelievably low
but
for everyone to get involved in things that are not that weren't accessible to things before.
yeah, but you have to think about a responsibility that lies like in the production of making those things. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that is an actual thing. You know what I mean?
What?
So
What?
Walmart and Amazon, they sell
Yeah.
really cheap products
Sure.
because wherever they make these products, it degrades the community around that. It's culturally irresponsible to wherever these things are being made. Resources are being extracted at a disgusting
here's
rate,
what-
and then
Here's what's
it's
wild
not-
about that. is
that's
that-
fucked up.
No,
Well,
it's 100%
Like, we have a
fucked up.
global, like,
But things are not all the same across the board. So if I pay a guy in fucking rural China $1 a day, he's a fucking millionaire by American standards. Like, it's not the same scale. The cost of living. No, that is true. I mean, I don't
like that
it's-
is fucked up.
Well,
I
like,
don't
we are
know,
global
So here's
citizens.
the,
You know
But
what
it's
I mean?
not-
I agree with you 100%, but
Yeah.
when you start looking at what really erodes the ability of people in China to make a living, it's not Amazon, it's more governments and currency manipulation. So if you start looking at what is it in China, this isn't as true now, but for a long time, China purposely ran basically every dollar that they would earn in profit, they lent back to America. They didn't want the currency to come into the country because then their currency would appreciate in value and their exports would become more expensive.
Okay.
Now, what happens every time that we engage in that transaction and America accepts a loan back from China, as opposed to China taking in that money as profits, is you're actually stealing money from Chinese workers because the currency that they're being paid out in doesn't appreciate in value.
Yeah.
So while I agree with you 100% that there's definitely here's the bigger problem is that human beings are a form of capital.
Yes.
And so if we really just allowed for free labor across like all societies, you would have an erosion in some ways of wealth in this country because you have skilled workers in other countries and they would get paid higher dollar values. But to look at that and go, hey, Walmart or Amazon are the dirty capitalists and they are the culprits for why we're able to extort wealth from these foreign countries, very much so removes the government roles. And where it really comes down to more than anything is currency manipulation in China, very much so wanting to keep their currency down so that they can fuel exports. So like it's very hard to like
There's
look
a
at
lot
the
of layers.
manipulate, like it's very hard to like look at these companies like a Walmart or an Amazon and go, hey, what they're doing is like, you know, exporting is taking advantage of slave labor in other countries without looking at the fact that governments are highly involved in those interactions.
And they fuck up most
first-
of it. And also, I
Yeah.
mean, like the same thing. If you make $20 an hour in New York City, and if you make $10 an hour in Des Moines,
It's not
Iowa,
even so much about the money thing. Like, we have to think about the fact that these corporations go in to a place like a land. So really cheap quinoa that you can get on Amazon. You can buy it in bulk, super, super cheap. This is because these corporations go into these places, completely take it over, get in with the government there, like you guys are saying, like, of course it's government involved, pay these people off to buy land from the people living in that area, completely degrade the land. This where they've been growing quinoa for thousands and thousands of fucking years. And they fuck it all up because they go into it, they try to mass produce it. And that is, monocropping is just not a good thing for the environment. And then it ends up degrading the people's lives around it, and they're not given anything for that when people are just making a quick buck on Amazon. You know what I mean? Like, the amount of just, like, there's just no responsibility there.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things that are interesting about that. One would be
Like
let's say I'm a corporation and I want to buy a quinoa field. Right?
One also thing is quinoa's not even that delicious. I
Quinoa
have to
tastes
flavor.
like butthole.
I have to flavor the fuck out of it. I know it's like really like nutrient rich, but like it tastes like shit. That's all I have to say. But anyways,
I just don't know how to look at that as like a.
So if let's say you and I own a business, Kendra,
Okay.
and we want to make quinoa,
Yeah.
right? So like, what's more in our interest, to buy a quinoa field and burn it to the ground so it can never grow quinoa again after we harvest it one time, or to sustain it and try to keep it healthy for years and years to come?
Obviously that, but you can't mass produce off of that. You know what I mean?
Why
Which
not?
is what these companies.
What it's
Because-
mass produce means long term.
That is true.
So if you're gonna say I'm gonna one time mass produce a thing, that doesn't make any sense at all. So I mean, so you're saying that these people who own the quinoa fields are like,
Yes.
here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna
Yes.
come in, we're gonna fucking ruin this quinoa field. We're gonna just
Basically.
drop fucking toxic waste on it. We're gonna have one
Yeah.
harvest of quinoa and then we're gonna never come back.
Maybe not necessarily one harvest of quinoa, but you know what I like. So say it's this. Why I never said it was one harvest.
Well, you said
You know
that
what I
you
mean?
said that they're gonna destroy the land there.
They do. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
how
they're
does that-
knocking down
How does
other.
that benefit you? How's it going to benefit me to destroy my own house that I just
Because
purchased?
it's not your house. It's not their house.
Yeah,
the
it is.
people.
You said they bought it, so it is
No,
theirs.
like the corporations bought it. You know what I mean? They don't live there.
Wait, who are we talking about? I thought we were talking about the corporations.
Exactly. So they
So-
go
so
into
the
these.
corporation
What
wants to
is
go and
confusing?
buy
Are you
it?
high?
I'm
Or-
going to step in as the peacekeeper. Before
Yeah.
we backtrack on that argument, I don't know much about quinoa, and I don't know much about scrubbing cunts, so enlighten us, please.
So
That sounded like a more interesting conversation.
If
Are we
you
talking
wanna
about a
scrub
bubble
a
bath? Are we
quinoa-
talking about a loofah?
You
Are we
can
talking
literally
about-
do it with whatever, and also
Okay.
it's one of the most versatile phrases in the entire world.
What's
Like
the best?
you can say, "Are you scrubbing my car right now?
Means are you fucking with me?
Are you fucking with me?"
Or you can be like, don't fuck with me. Like, don't
scrubbing
scrub
my
my
cunt.
cunt. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Or if you're just really excited, but what? Scrub my cunt.
It sounds a little violent. I'm not into it.
I mean, depends on how
can have a
how
loofah.
much pressure you apply.
Well, your dad probably scrubs cunts, so
You calling my dad a cunt scrubber? You don't even know my dad. How dare you?
I feel like
My dad's very gentle with cunts.
Yeah,
We
his
could make
mom
a-
has a very clean vagina, so that's great. Anyways, Rob, I don't know if anything you want to talk about.
have you ever had your cunt scrubbed?
I've not, but I'm open to it. So you guys let me know what the process is there. What
Did you
I'm
get
committing
anyone
to.
for your orgy tonight? You were talking about orgies last night.
I was
Did-
throwing that out there again tonight, and you know
Ah.
there are a lot of takers, but I don't have the hotel room anymore, so I had to turn them. I had to
Ooh.
turn them away. I had to be
Damn
like,
it.
I'm sorry, I'm crashing by my friend Kyle. He's got a girlfriend. I mean, sure, she's off
She's
in
not here, though.
college, and she's not here for Valentine's Day, so they're probably not really in a relationship. But listen, I'm not going to break that
It's
to
probably
Kyle.
not even real. I mean,
You
what?
know,
Of course she is.
So sadly, my my orgy fell apart. So you know, it's okay. I've jerked off alone before. It's not the end of the world.
I was just curious because I wasn't sure if you were offering that up tonight. It wasn't there for the show, so.
Well, we can go back, see if maybe some of them are around. They were looking for us.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
sure they're still there. They're probably wandering
They
around
are
like, where
definitely
are
still
you?
there on their like 7th Tito's soda.
Keeping it gluten free.
for
Of
sure
course.
though, like they definitely went 3 deep in Kyle's driveway earlier.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Just like I go 3 deep in my girlfriend.
Hey yo,
That's
I
inches.
made that joke
3
earlier.
full
And you said
inches
that
of
wasn't
dick.
funny.
I would never.
Like
tell you
I
how
don't think
funny.
this is funny because the government thinks it's funny. I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
The corporations.
The fucking fascists.
The fucking fascist jokes.
The cunt scrubbers. If I had like a team or like a government or something, I think I should be the cunt scrubbers. I don't know. My political party that I'm starting, 2025.
Yes.
That's my number. It's gonna be the cunt scrubbers,
The
and we're
cunt
just
scrubbers.
gonna.
Cunt
you
scrubbers
should
of
add
America.
for America. Yeah,
For
the
yeah.
cunt
Yeah.
scrubbers of
The
America.
United
or
Cunt
of
Scrubbers
America.
of America.
Yeah, yeah.
America.
Yeah, it is.
Cunt scrubbers of America.
Yeah.
It sounds like a
Cunt
union
scrubbers of
group that's been
America.
around forever.
It does. It does. We go
I got it. I'm very interested to see what I
We
need to
go
edit out of this and what I do.
way back.
What I don't need to edit out of this.
I don't know. Probably everything.
Just let the freak flag fly.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I
It's
mean,
conversation's good to have. And back in ancient Greece, that's how democracy got. They just brought everyone over to the town hall, and everyone got to say their. I like that. I want to hear what everyone has to say, because then
Sure.
maybe it'll lighten you to be like, hey, I don't know about that. Like, what are you talking about when you're saying that? You know?
true.
I'm
And
thinking, hey, I better
being-
eat this quinoa before Amazon ruins all the fields. That's what I learned.
You're not
I'm like,
gonna,
the quinoa's going
we're
away.
not
If I
gonna
don't eat
have-
it tomorrow, it's going to be fucking gone.
Dude, the yoga bitches who listen to this are going to be freaking out. They're going to be like, she said, that astrologer comedian said there's going to be no more quinoa in 15
Do
years.
you follow astrology?
I love astrology.
Oh my God!
Can you
Don't
lay
get
it
me
on
started.
me? Give me some astrology insight.
There it
Oh,
is.
when's your birthday? Can I guess?
Absolutely.
Okay, is it in October?
It is not.
Ooh, okay.
What's your second guess?
August?
Nope.
No? Okay, what is it?
April?
Ooh, are you an Aries?
I am.
Yeah, okay. I was going with fire. With
Okay.
fire. I felt the
Well,
fire.
she felt the fire.
felt the
felt the fire.
fire.
Felt the fire. She's picking
so,
it up.
yeah. I was like, yeah, no, the way he talks, it's just exciting. Like, ah. Like, I see that. That's like an astrological. So you're an Aries. Your birthday is coming up.
Yeah.
Do you like astrology?
I'm open to it. It's not something that I ever.
That was enough. She is so excited just from that.
What? No, it's not something I ever considered to have much weight or value. But I've been reading this guy, Geerchif.
Okay.
And he's real into astrology, and he's got some real insights on things that I can definitely read and go, hey, that's insightful. So I've always just overlooked the astrology chapters because they're a little over my head, and
Yeah.
I can't really connect with it. But I'm not like I don't like teach their own. It's not like I read and go, hey,
Yeah.
this is lunacy. So I'm open to it.
It's a language to understand, so it makes it easier once you understand like the symbols and archetypes in order, because
Yeah.
that's how humans we just how we connect with the world is through archetypes. Always have through stories, storytelling. That's an essential part of human nature.
You're just saying it's a formulation by which you can recognize patterns.
Yes.
And all of life is pattern recognition, and so
Pretty
understanding
essentially.
of astrology
Yeah.
is just fundamental patterns in the universe.
Essentially.
Cool.
Yes, that's like
I'm
literally the
open to
most
that.
basic way to break it down. It's really fun. I wish I was better at it, but I want to make my own like comedy thing. Dickstrology. That's like two of my
Dickstrology?
favorite things.
That's
Dicks
your
and astrology.
first-
Astrology
okay.
and dicks.
You
Yeah.
can really do something with, like, you're a consultant for whether or not relationships will work based
That's
off
actually
of.
what
yeah.
I am trying to.
You know, it'd be
do.
funnier. You know, it'd be really great if you like.
That's literally what I want to do.
You looked at a guy's penis and then what
Mhm.
his sign was, and then
I was
you
like,
could tell
definitely
someone,
a Scorpio.
No, not even
Shit.
that.
Is
It's
that, is
like,
that when the penis is bent and has a barb on the end?
Exactly. And it like, and it even moves on its own. You're like, what the fuck?
And it's like, get over here. And
Yeah.
no, it's like, get over here.
like the way people read hands, you're able to just like look at veins in a penis and really
Yeah.
predict people's futures.
That is.
The astrology is marketable, so I would
I
see that
think
through
so
to the
too.
end. Yeah.
That's like my two favorite things. Like, and if I could talk to people about that,
Yeah.
like be a astrologer, sex therapist, or something.
If you could
I
be,
bet
like,
there's one out there. I bet there's one.
there's
out
palm
there.
readers. You
Yeah,
could
you're
be a
probably more
penis reader.
entertaining, which is part of sales. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I
There
just
you
I
go.
just can't. I just can't be like, oh, sorry, boss, I'm late. Here's a doctor's note from my dickstrologist. Like, I just can't wait for that to be the day.
I love talking about astrology.
Say this is a fucking candy open that could go on for 6 hours.
Worms.
But
love
do you guys have any closing thoughts on the Desperation Day?
Desperation Day. I'm glad that both nights were good. I was nervous about having 2 nights.
It went great. Everything
I
went
was
great.
good. Today was good. Everyone did well.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
I just want to interject.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're good.
I'm not great with astrology, but I can tell patterns from shit stains inside of toilet seats.
Nice.
And
What are you
Is
doing?
everyone healthy in the house or no?
no one's healthy. That's for sure. Everyone's got a problem, but
a lot of cancerous fucking
Yeah.
splatter stains in the toilet.
Is that because you have IBS?
hey, that was just a
And
joke.
so
you know,
you're-
He's like, I know what you're talking
I
about.
got
Is that the first?
Noah's stomach works better than me. Are you
Is that
kidding
the
me?
first time you've been asked that?
What? Yeah, you know what? I've had people like ask me. Yeah, that one hasn't come up yet after shows.
Oh, I'm just a weird person.
no, that's
I'm
okay.
like, tell me about your poops.
I want to hear all about your stool. But no, Mike, I just wanted, like,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
were wrapping up kind of like final thoughts on
Okay.
how the last couple of shows went.
Did you
I
have
thought
fun?
everything went great.
I had a
See
great
that?
time. This was so much fun.
Such a
yeah.
crazy, weird place, huh? Not
I-
really.
no, I
Just
didn't
a
think
bunch
it
of
was
white
that
people being fancy and getting drunk and like sending themselves down a mountain.
Nah, I had a great time up here. Like,
Fuck yeah,
got to
bud.
ski, do shows. It was the best. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm
It's
really
pretty
glad
dope.
he came out. I mean it was such a limb, like I was such a fan of Part of the Problem and fucking you and Dave both, and the one day I was just like, you know what? Let's see if Robbie wants to come out. And I just shot him a message and I was like, hey Robbie, you wanna do comedy here? I can't really pay you much, but I can give you some lift tickets. And you were like, I'm in. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I need
You
to
were
figure this
so
out.
excited. I feel like you had like a countdown on your phone or something about
Oh
it.
yeah. Well, I mean, I fucking am extremely organized, and so I put
You
all this
are.
together.
Yeah.
But and so
It's
I
because
mean,
you're a Virgo rising Taurus. That's why.
there it is. I'll just take your word for that. It's also why
true.
Listy list maker. I see your lists.
I just got my whiteboard. I'm actually like thinking about buying like a really big whiteboard to
You
there
should
to
do
fucking
it.
like do business plans on
And then
and
you
shit.
can jerk off to it every day. about
Fuck it,
all
I'm
the
just-
things you're
I'm just gonna draw. I'm
accomplishing.
gonna draw boobs on it and then just jerk off on it. It's gonna be great. But I'm really fucking glad you made it out here, man. It was
Me
such
too.
a pleasure. You did an awesome job.
So
both
funny.
nights. Absolutely great.
Made me LOL.
And a shout out to our buddy Mark Masters, came out last night too. He did a great
Yeah.
job too.
Yeah,
And
you did.
everyone who came out this weekend, all the comics who came up, they're all people you've heard on this show before for the most part, and everyone did a great
Yeah.
job.
We gotta get Matt on the show.
Yeah, I know that fucking
That
drugger.
fucker.
God damn it!
Was he the guy with the long beard?
And there's like a long
Bacon
hair
beard?
from
Oh,
last
okay.
night.
How did
What?
Bacon Beard do tonight?
He was
Bacon Beard
great.
fucking
He was
crushed,
funny.
I
dude.
love
He's
him
funny.
so much. He's so funny.
He's a stud.
Okay, so Kaylin, what did she do?
Kaylin, oh, she did such a great job. She wrote out Valentines on heart-shaped pieces of paper
Yeah, they
and
were
then
funny.
read them and then like was like, from Caitlyn, and they just like
She's
threw them.
amazing.
She's so great.
Oh my god, I love her so much. She's really
Caitlin's
good
great.
at like the kind of like show part of it because of all the cabaret and stuff that she does.
Oh yeah,
like that's
she's very
awesome.
comfortable on stage. You
Yeah.
can tell, and she
Yeah.
has a good mix of like being loose
yeah.
to like it's like she's not overly professional about
Yeah.
it. Like she's like lets her
Just
guard
having
down.
Fun.
Yeah,
She's
she's
like
she's just up there to have fun and
killing
have a good
it.
time, and she
killing
always
it.
does great.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Fucking
She's a
love her.
Virgo too.
I say you just open a
And
can
then
of
who
worms,
else went
bud.
tonight? Mac went tonight. How did he do?
Dude, Matt crushed. Mac's always hilarious.
Vikings.
Oh yeah, he did.
yeah.
His Viking, but he expanded on it a little bit too.
Nice, nice.
very
And
funny.
then you, Robbie, obviously bombed.
Yeah, we fucking we just between the two of us we split an order of shit to eat.
yeah,
for two.
nice.
We just fucking scarfed it down.
Miles, how did Miles do tonight?
Miles did
I
great.
fucking forgot. Yeah. Nice, dude.
Miles
I
did
got
great.
An 80. I like barely got into the B's last night, but that's okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's all great. I mean, all of the show's been
it
great.
doesn't
and
matter.
we really support or we appreciate all of the support for everything we've had going
Why
on.
do you have a random trash bag in your closet? That blue one hanging up, number 28. Fuck the Giants. Go Pats.
Let's go, Big Blue. You guys are on the downswing. We're on the up. We have Saquon, so it's just a matter of time.
We are on the whatever.
We
it's
also
fine.
always beat you in the Super Bowl.
I hate you.
Anyways,
Let's wrap it up. Like, hopefully, all of you are doing out there tonight. We don't want any more Scorpios.
It is Valentine's Day. Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. And for like the rest of the month, basically. And then you're like in the clear because we'll bring more Sages into the world. So that's just my little astro update for all of you.
more
sexy
Sages than your
people.
badges.
More Sages than your Vages. Yep.
What?
What?
Yeah, Jay-Z is a Sag. Yep.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. Everyone have a great night. Thank you again to Robbie the Fire Bernstein.
Thank you.
Have a
Robbie.
great night, everybody.
Fiending of the burns.
The firest of the burns. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Bye.